Principal St. Vivekananda English Academy, Guwahati. A big round of applause. Next we have Dr. Pulak Bhattacharyya, Dean of Studies, ISG Group of Institutions and Schools, Guwahati. Krishnanjan, Chanda, Principal, South Point School, Guwahati. A big round of applause for our panelists. Alfred Fernandes, Principal, the Downtown School, Guwahati. P.S. Sarkar, Principal, Delhi Public School, ONGC, Nazira. And then lastly, we have Borthakur, Vice Principal, NPS International School. A big round of applause. Mayur, Ghai, Channel Development, Avidii, India. Can we please join our hands together for our wonderful panelists? Over to you, ma'am.
So, before I start anything, for that matter, I would like to hear from you instead of the panelists that what is your idea of an hour, 45 minutes well spent on the topic that is there. And the topic being from self-directed learning to self-assessments and personalized learning, the dawn of a new education era. That's how the title of the session goes. And therefore, what will be your idea of a good 45 minutes spent on this topic? Can I take in one or two responses, please? Anyone? No idea. How sweet. I love your honesty. So sweet of you. Any responses? Our assessments needed. Oh, who's that, please? Our assessments needed. Wonderful. Okay. Assessments are not needed. So therefore, next 45 minutes, if you could justify that assessments are not needed or whether they are needed at all, is Nelly ma'am's idea. And sir, please excuse me, but if you could introduce yourself. Okay. Okay, so Pulak sir's idea of a good 45 minutes spent. Now moving on to the panelists. And once again, I'm not going to introduce the panelists. The panelists will themselves do so. But again, being a post-lunch session, I would want all of you all to not only say that name and designation to hai na, sab jagah pe hi hai, dikh raha hai sabko. It's there on everybody's table. So apart from that, please tell us one fun thing about you, or maybe something you like to do, what is your strength, anything. Just add anything apart from that name and designation. And starting with you, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you, ma'am. And I am Krishnanjan Chanda. I am the principal of South Point School. And I had been around for a long time, as does my school. Like our school has been established in 1960. And as the first non-missionary English medium school with a Montessori section. And I had been the principal, I had been working in that school since 1986, and now I'm the principal at the verge of retirement. Maybe another 2 or 3 years down the line, I should retire. Anyway, what?
Anything you're good at, or anything fun thing about you, your strength?
I'm good at adapting. And I know we started off as a CBSE Seva affiliated school, and now on one fine morning I decided that we should switch to CBSE, and I did just that. So once I decide on something, I'll probably and I definitely try to execute that and do what I decide. That probably is one of my principal strengths.
Dinosaurs were extinct because they never adapted. So South Point will definitely stay around for another 100, 200 years because the school leader here speaks about adaptability. Over to you, ma'am. I have a tendency of taking the name, but then, yeah.
It's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Your name, designation, and some fun element about you, something you're good at.
Post-lunch session. We are already on the danger zone. I know sitting on the platform here, I'll see a few drooping eyelids. It's okay, no problem. Keep your ears open. That will do. I'm Papri Borthakur, and I'm the Vice Principal of NPS International School. And instead of introduction, I'll confess something. I'll make a little confession. I'm fond of video games. I play them. I play the silly games, but I play them because they de-stress me. They help me take a lot of things off my mind, and I feel good about it. That's it.
So if anyone wants to be in a school where video games are not shunned, then Papri ma'am is a place to be. Sir, over to you.
So good afternoon. My name is Pulak Bhattacharyya. Currently, I'm serving as the Dean of Studies, Cambridge International School, Guwahati. Now, regarding something about myself, I remember my school days when I used to be a winner, not in the normal race, but in the backward race. Like, you have to run backward. So maybe that's what I've done in my career, because I started my teaching career in a college. I was in government service. I was working in Guwahati University on probation. Then one fine day, I gave up my government service, joined the private sector as a principal of Cambridge International School. And since then, I'm in the private sector working with the students. So it's I don't know whether we call it a backward leap or a backward fall, but till today, I don't have any regrets. The only thing I regret is that maybe, like the children or the parents could be as, responsive as we had been in our days. That's the only thing I'm hoping that will happen in the days to come. Other than that, no regrets. And it's a backward leap, backward jump, but I'm enjoying my life, enjoying my career. Thank you so much.
So an arrow has to be pulled backward for a nice journey forward, and that's Pulak sir for us. Thank you. Over to you, the next speaker.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Alfred Fernandes, and I work for the Downtown School. Teaching is my ikigai, and I'm a teacher by passion and not by education, like I always keep up saying. I'm a proud army wife, and the fun thing about me, or rather the profession that I am in, is I love being a teacher for a lot of reasons, but one particular reason is because a teacher never gets old. I mean, we are up for the trends, the fashion, the music, the movies, you name it, and we know everything. So that is one thing that I love about my profession, and it really inspires me to be a teacher. Thank you.
So if anybody was wondering how come Maya ma'am looks so young and beautiful, so that's the reason. She has spelt it out. She is a teacher. Over to you. Yeah, your microphone is there.
I think so. You should go first.
It's okay. Okay, fine. Okay.
Sorry, there is a break in sequence there, so I'm taking that stage there. Myself, P.S. Sarkar. I'm working in DPS. Quite long years that I spent with that school education. First of all, I want to share that what is the belief system. I do believe that education, it runs, or the particularly classroom management, it runs on 3 words: like, love, and learning. So when the children, they're liking something, they start loving, and when it starts, it develops that learning. And one thing irreversible, that is a funny thing, as Madam said, some funny thing to be said. I think my hair color is irreversible. Thank you.
Fine, we will try to integrate the 3 L's. Hope you will like it, love it, and learn something at the end of the panel.
Hi, I think everybody knows me by now, Mayur. I only have one fun fact. I am a BCom honors graduate and I sell software. Beat that. Beat that, One interesting thing about me is I've been selected by the Chief Minister of Delhi as one of the mentors for their incubation cell, which happened where I was competing with other people. And yeah, thank you.
On a lighter note, diversity and inclusion is the subject nowadays, the hot topic. Okay, now that the 6 members of the panel, I think ours is the first full panel, I believe, of the first full panel of the day. And so myself, I'm Mitra, and I'm the principal of St. Vivekananda English Academy, but then that's not much of the introduction I like. I rather would like to identify myself as a educator of physics, because that is what I've done 16 years in my life in Bombay. And if I have to say what is my strong point, Well, my strong point is that I'm very good at inflicting boredom and putting everyone to sleep by my talk. So I'm good at singing lullabies, and that's exactly the reason why Aryan put me in this post-lunch panel. So, mercy. May God be with you all. So I'm hoping, on a more serious note, hoping that between the drooping eyes and the yawns, we will be able to make some meaningful insights, add something. We are not here to sermonize, because we are co-learners in this learning journey. So on that note, my first question would be to Chanda sir. And while designing this discussion, we thought, as panel members, we thought of dividing it into sections whereby we could be very clear on the what part of it. Because many a times we do a lot of things and we forget to stop and really analyze what does it really mean. So what are those 3 terms that are there in that topic? Why do we really need it? And if we really need it, then how should we go about it? And finally, yes, if we have tried to achieve something in terms of personalized learning, in terms of self-assessment, what is our feedback mechanism which will tell us, yes, that was a good thing to adapt, that did help improve learning outcomes. So therefore, we'll try and stick to this what, how, why, whether, so that at the end of the discussion, we have kind of spelt out these aspects. And hence, to start with, my first question to Chanda sir, to please elaborate on his idea of personalized learning, his interpretation of self-directed learning, and what's that link? Why have they put these terms together? Self-directed learning, personalized learning, what's the connection? What's the relevance?
Thank you. Well, since I already knew beforehand what the questions would be like, I had made some copies, notes, and I'll refer to these notes from time to time. So it makes things easier, and it will stop me rambling away, wasting time. So self-directed learning is all about enhancing the capability of a child, of a student, to determine what to study and what aspects and concepts of the subjects they are chosen to study to focus on. But then that has to be within the framework of a standardized curriculum. We can't avoid a standardized curriculum. At the end of the day, the students will have to appear in an exam, whether internal or external, with a school exam or board's exam. And for that they have to complete premeditated course and curriculum and, answer questions in exam based on the curriculum, on the coursework that they've done. But again, self-directed learning does allow students to be proactive, in the sense that they do things their way, and they have a lot of liberty to work around the syllabus, the curriculum, and devise their own means to kind of adapt to the knowledge, use the knowledge that they acquire in different areas. Of course, the teachers must be, there to help, lend a helping hand. They should. We cannot do without the teachers in school education, in classroom instructions, and basically they are to provide resources, suggest roadmaps for effective learning to take place in the classroom. Again, for assessment, in this case, self-assessment by the students, the teachers must provide some rubrics and criteria for learning outcome and achievements, on the basis of which students can assess their own performances and their entry and exit level competencies. Well, from self-directed learning, we can move on to transformative learning. So it is, that's where it comes from. Transformative learning again fosters and ensures that the learning is transferred to practical field. So self-directed learning helps in the transformation of learning to the field. That means in actual workplace or the society. This makes learning an effective tool to resolve real life situations. So by transformative learning we mean transferring learning from the classroom to the real life situations, to problem solving in whatever field they're required to. And that makes it, again, that makes learning not just for exams, that makes learning for real life problem solving is not, and it's not disconnected from real life in any case. So from this too, we go on to emancipatory learning. Emancipatory learning is again a term which is recently devised. How do we get emancipated? So basically, emancipatory learning as social actions, these two go hand in hand. This is an integral part of self-education. Like we say, we're talking about self-directed learning. The emancipatory learning and social action are integral part to this. And opening up the mind to the reality of a new world, devoid of preconceived notions and biases of gender, class, and ideologies. This is what it will all lead to, emancipatory learning. That is again flows from self-directed learning and transformative learning. So this will make learners truly emancipated and overcoming. They'll help them to overcome socio-economic barriers. It doesn't. We don't. I mean, which strata of society they are from, rich, poor, rural, urban, it will make a difference. They'll still will be able to emancipate themselves and open their minds to the broader aspects of the new world. Now we have this personal learning. The personalized learning, it all comes to personalized learning, means learning for personal, make it personalized means the children, the students, they learn for their own sake. It becomes personalized in the sense that one size doesn't fit all. They have to devise their own ways and means to kind of adapt to the new system, to learn things that they really want to learn, and they will decide what to learn, how to learn, when to learn, where to learn, etc. And the individuals have on their own personal interests, strengths and weaknesses, their own unique experiences that add on to their learning, that contribute to the learning. And assessments to bring out core competences, the assessment aspect are to bring out the core competencies which might vary from one student to another, resulting in effective learning. That is all about self-directed learning leading to transformative learning, and then opening up the world, opening them up to the minds and to the new world, going beyond preconceived notions and biases of gender, class, and ideologies, and become a world citizen, and their learning remains personalized. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, okay, ma'am, you have the microphone. Ma'am, we kind of deliberated on personalized learning, and therefore I would want you to take up maybe specific examples of self-assessment, like across grades. If you could just give certain examples that what does self-assessment look across the grades, and do you think really it will facilitate the process of learning? But before I pass it on to you, I would just request the panelists to please be mindful about the time, because we have been truncated. So therefore, for 3 minutes, it's 2 minutes now. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. So SDL, or self-directed learning, and personalized learning, I believe, are two sides of the same coin. Because in both, the learner takes ownership of his or her learning. But there's a subtle difference in both because in the first, the SDL or the self-directed learning, the learner even diagnoses his learning needs. What do I need to learn? And then moves on to creating goals for himself, and then finds out strategies that suits him or her best, moves on to evaluation and so on. Whereas in personalized, the child is guided by a facilitator, and in most cases it is the teacher, to help the learner create goals, both short-term and long-term goals, and help the learner identify how he or she learns best. When that happens, the rest will follow at its own pace. Now, self-assessment. Self-assessment is an extension of self-directed learning. When I have taken the responsibility of understanding what I need to learn, I will also take up the responsibility of assessing whether I have met my goals. That is where learning leads up to. We all speak about learning objectives and learning goals. So the self-assessment part is the part of evaluation where the learner understands. And that's a very new, the child by himself or herself or the learner actually finds out whether he has met his goals or not. And here too sometimes the role of the facilitator is really important. Now, if we talk about self-assessment in grades 1 and 2, I would say that's right now an illusion kind of a thing. A child will not be able to identify his learning needs at all. But even a 6-year-old child will be able to identify how I learn best, whether visually, whether through hands-on activity, that the child will be clearly and emphatically give his or her views on. And that should be the beginning step for us. And self-assessment can be made into a reality. That's not at all an impossible situation. It can be made into a reality if we begin with baby steps, which all of us are doing right now, because NEP has opened up a new world, a new vision for us, and we are moving towards this. We are all making baby steps, but if we hang onto our belief, our faith that we can make it happen, then self-assessment for a learner of 7 or 6 years is possible. Maybe not by working and outsheet and grading himself or herself, but in realizing I have learned this much, but I am expected to learn a little more. And how do I move about it? The teacher will, be guiding him or her in order to achieve that. I'm sorry, Mitra, did I take too much of time?
No, it's okay. So thank you, ma'am. Yeah, I think it was required for bringing out the essence of the topic. Moving on to you, Pulak sir, and a very pointed question to you in terms of the kind of school you run, since you handle the international curriculum, and the buzzword is that IB and IGCSE curriculums, they help students be more independent learners in comparison to our general boards. So therefore, my question to you is, in an international curriculum, how does personalized learning, how does self-assessment look?
Yeah, thank you for the question. See, first of all, international curriculum, the Cambridge curriculum that we are running right now, the scope for self-directed learning or personalized learning is quite high. And now the thing is how do we manage to do that? For example, any topic that the curriculum is contains, there is a kind of guideline, what part of the topic, what topics would be dealt with by the teacher, what concept will be dealt with by the teacher, and what will be left for the students to do their own directed learning. Every subject we have not 1, 2 to 3 classes per week, which we call as R&R, research and reference. So once the topic is explained, the concept is explained, the students on that individual basis are expected to do their own research, do their own directed learning, self-directed learning, and get their own, kind of interpretation of the topic. And then there'll be a general discussion where the teacher will act as a facilitator and will, validate which points are okay, which are not maybe up to the mark. So there'll be a kind of validation of the points. Now this again becomes, this is possible only when the assessment also supports this. Because we have seen a lot of, curricula where there's a great deal of support in having, even the NEP now talks about having liberal education, free education in terms of no restraint among science, arts, commerce. I mean, all kind of mixture possible, different mother tongues being introduced. So everything looks good. But then how would the assessment process support this? Now, let me give an example. I wouldn't want to go into, kind of theory. Like all of us have done history. And personally, myself, I had found history very boring. Like we had history in school, where suppose we had done Ashoka. So the question used to come almost standard questions every year. Who was Ashoka? What were his achievements? And those kind of questions. So you can, memorize the stuff. You can get very good marks in the examination without knowing exactly what has Ashoka really done. Because whatever is in the book, I learned by heart. The teacher also supports me. I get good marks in the examination. I am termed as a very good student. But when somebody asks me about history, I will say history is boring. Now, the same type of thing that we are getting in international education, the assessment or the questioning makes it possible for the students to do their own research and their own learning. Napoleon. I'll just narrate one question that came a couple of years back in the IGCSE examination. Instead of asking, the students were asked to do a research on Napoleon. So instead of asking who was Napoleon, simple one question came. Had Napoleon lived 10 years more, what could be the outcome of world history? Now see the question and the relevance of the question. Every student might be able to put a different perspective. So every perspective might be justified, might be correct. It's not the what, it's the why that is being promoted. And that is where the self-learning or where the teacher acts as a facilitator had been working quite well in international education. And that's what.
Yeah, wonderful. That reminded me of an example that I always give to the teachers in the teachers training, that what if Shirajuddaulah would have, won the Battle of Plassey? What would be the, history of India? How would it look like? Would we have gained independence maybe 10 years before? Correct. Absolutely. Right. So, in continuation, Pulak sir, since I'm looking at the time, so therefore maybe in continuation, I would like to ask you that, is it really possible to implement this kind of, teaching learning across the nation in classes where the strengths are 40, 50 maybe? So how easy, difficult? Think in terms of government, non-government, all kinds of schools if you think of, then what are the challenges?
True, because like when the international curriculum, they have that kind of restriction that the classroom should not contain more than 20 students so that there will be more of individualized learning, this kind of discussions can take place. But when we started, I'm talking from my own experience, like we started maybe with classes of 20 in a section, and this kind of procedure or this process was very fruitful. But then gradually we took a chance, because there were other things also involved in running a school. So why not increase the class size and see whether this can work or not? But let me tell you that this can be possible. This is possible, has been happening, but there's a but here. The teachers training, or the teachers have to be made competent to run this kind of program.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well said, sir. Thank you. Coming to you, Maya ma'am, and we both share a common element. While I was in Bombay, she was in Pune. Am I right? So Maza Maharashtra, thoda sa idhar bhi ho jaye. So that was on a lighter note to keep you all awake. Are you all awake, by the way? Okay, thank you. So, Maya ma'am, now are we really talking of these things like self-directed learning, self-assessment? All these really came out during the pandemic, right? And before that, these things were not talked about so much as it was during the pandemic times. So do you think post-pandemic, now that our classrooms have returned to normalcy, are they still relevant? And What would be the impact on educators? Does it mean that educators will become non-relevant? Your thoughts?
Thank you. I really want to know, was self-directed learning actually a new term? I'm sure all of us have seen little children flipping through books and then stopping at a certain picture and coming to you and asking, what is this? Okay? Or I have seen small children, putting water from one glass to another and trying to figure out whether they are able to do it or not. And once they are sure that they are able to do it, they'll display it to you that, look, I can do this. So self-directed learning is not exactly a new term. We have all seen it and we have all been using it. It's just become a little polished and better with the World Wide Web, the WWW Internet, and the pandemic has further given it a push. I think, all the agencies, all the policies of the government have been talking recently about competency-based learning. We have been talking about experiential learning. All these things are nothing but the self-directed learning. I have got the privilege of working for the content creation of the books for CBSE, the communicative English book, and also been the Cambridge author. And while we are designing the content, we have been told to have a pre-reading activity, a while reading activity, and a post-reading activity. And all the textbooks that you are using have them. What are those? Those questions, if you pay attention, are nothing but the self-directed learning questions, the HOTS, what we call nowadays, They're all HOTS, and HOTS are nothing but self-directed learning. So I don't think that, it should go away. It is very, very important because we are preparing our children for the VUCA world. And I have been harping on this term and of empowering our children. It's about time we empower our children that what they want to learn, from where they want to learn, when, how, it completely should be in their command. And we should be facilitators. Now, coming back to your second question about educators' role, well, I might sound a little biased because I have been in the industry for around 18 years and still learning. No, this is not going to change our role. Yes, it might change the focus that we should pay attention to. We should become the mind changers, and not just educators anymore, mentors in real sense. Because the AI is going to stay, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. The technology is here to stay, and how? The technology is supposed to be used as a teaching tool. But when I say teaching tool, it is supposed to make your life easy. Things that you're spending time on, it can be a lifesaver, like basic things like taking attendance or filling up the data or the administrative work as a teacher we do. And it will also help you to identify a personalized area where a child needs a certain amount of help. So what has happened is earlier the focus of the education was knowledge-based, like, imparting knowledge. But now the focus of the education is where we are talking about imparting skills. We are trying to impart skills to our children and not just knowledge. Knowledge is there available on their fingertips. Just Google anything and you know everything. So we have to change our focus as educators and adapt. And what I feel is, we need to understand that the art of education has changed to science of learning. Now, when I say science of learning is we need to understand the learners and present them the education that is customized for them, which is possible with the help of the technology. We have had some wonderful presentations over here which are precisely talking about those things, which is going to help us teachers to actually impart the certain amount of knowledge or the perfect amount of knowledge that a child requires. So no, absolutely not. The role of the teacher is definitely not going to come down or anything like the teachers are worried about, because we are going to move forward with skills, with confidence, and a toolbox of evidence-based strategies. Now, when I say evidence-based strategies, there is a lot of work happening in there, in the data science or understanding how the mind is working or how the children are learning. So those researches and those kind of findings are going to be our toolbox, and This is how we are going to move forward and only get better and better at what we are doing with so much of passion. I hope that answers. Thank you.
Very wonderfully put. And I think COVID has shown in ways more than one the relevance of educators in real time. I think if there are any other doubts, I think COVID has laid them to rest. And yes, I mean, very rightly said about the use of technology, how technology can really help. It's not about technology replacing teachers. So we all, as educators, are aware of the SAMR model, the substitution and the augmentation, modification and redirection. And if we are looking at better learning outcomes with the help of technology, then it is not about just substituting our textbooks with e-books, or it's not just about asking them to do something on a Google Doc, which they used to do it on a pen and paper, but it is about a much higher level of integration of tools and technology, and creating new tasks altogether. So on that note, I would like to move on to Mayur. And Mayur, my question to you is that to implement self-directed learning, to implement personalized learning, do we really need, or I mean, coming back to that specific term, maybe self-assessment, do we really need technology? Can we not do without technology? And since I'm looking at the time again, I will put your question too also, that will it really bring, if we just go on sticking on to online assessments, will it bring down the education standards of our country, which we are so proud of?
First of all, thank you for the promotion, ma'am. I didn't expect that. But we live in times where you have self-taught engineers building rockets. Right? I don't think we are unaware about that. We live in times where college dropouts and people who hardly knew how to code have built billion-dollar businesses. I am also an example of somebody who probably in the generic assessment system was considered to be, I think, not that qualified or not that talented. I think self-assessment is required and technology is required just to understand something that you can't see with the naked eye. You cannot enter people's bedrooms. You cannot enter people's houses. You cannot enter people's personal privacy. You cannot do that. Even if you are the most trusted person by the student, by the parent, you cannot do that. Only technology can penetrate through. Nothing else can. I remember watching a series on, I think, Hotstar, where they were talking about whether legends are made or they are naturally created. And they gave stories about LeBron in the US, Virat Kohli here, Elon Musk. And they, if you watch that, it has been created by certain great guys who had PhDs from MIT. And they said that, there are occasions in your life where because somebody has judged you in a wrong way, your mindset changes. You become 10 times more aggressive. You tend to think that I'm going to break each and every rule possible in this world. And then you become probably a legend. Right? So there is the butterfly effect every time somebody judges you wrong. Right? Somebody judges you in the wrong way. So I think, yes, I would like to stay with my point. Technology is the way through. Technology is the way you can penetrate through people. Technology is the way you can understand people well. Nothing is being replaced. Okay, so when computers came in, Industry Revolution 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, we are right now in 5.0, right? When the Industrial Revolution started, when computers came in, this is exactly what people said, that they are going to replace people. But imagine the kind of jobs they've created. Right? Today, when you're building an IT park, you're not building an IT park where you only have colleges and schools. You're building an IT park so that IT companies can come in. So nothing in this world is going to replace teachers because they are the best recommenders in the world, right? But yes, technology is required, self-assessment is required.
Thank you, Mayur. Absolutely, we need a balanced, which I believe all the previous panels also came up with, that we need to strike a balance. We need to find out our center of gravity, our COG, and so that everything is perfectly balanced. Moving on to you, Sarkar sir. Yeah. So again, I'm feeling like that student. I know now how it feels. That the bell will go, warning bell, etc. And I have that here right in front of me. And Sarkar sir, therefore, if technology is required, or required or not required, technology is there. And we are looking at a lot of integration. So given this scenario, how do you think technology will really improve the learning outcomes? Because finally, that is what is the main purpose, right? So how will technology bring in a change there in terms of learning outcomes?
You mean my take on it?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Thank you for the question there. I second Mayur, first of all. Actually, technology is from the very childhood, from the very ancient civilization. Technology was there. Technology will be there. Technology will improve, and technology cannot substitute human being. I am a firm believer of it. We are generating technology. The interest vested on the human being, how we want to utilize it. Now, I'll be very specific on the question, that is the EdTech. Yeah, we have brought technology into the education. That is also not now. Some speaker was speaking about the Takshila. Takshila was also having a very, very big technology house. Whatever I know, I think many of you have seen, know about the Chandragupta episodes. It was having a technological marvel, be it construction, be it Vastu Shastra, be it calculation, be it statistics, even the water management, whatever my knowledge goes. Now, when we talk about the learning outcome, I'm just sharing with you. I'll be stick to the 3 minutes. I'm seeing that it is clicking there. Just in one of the, I being a part of the CBSE, COE, Guwahati, and national level, some of the participants, they ask me, कि सर ये learning outcome होता क्या है? आप बताइए उसमें. So there were lots of slides where there I am trying to convince them. Then ultimately it has come that learning outcome, is it measurable or not measurable? Now a teacher is teaching in the classroom of 40 students or 20, whatever Pulak sir is telling, 20 students, he is fortunate. We are not that much fortunate. We have the 40, 45 strength. Now the issue remains same, whether it is 22 or 40. You have to measure the learning outcome of the individual student, not the collective one. Now you may say, sir, we have conducted half-yearly examination, annual examination, summative assessment, so on and so forth. So ultimately what we are giving a score. That is not learning outcome. That is the achievement. Learning outcome, it may be content, topic, sub-topic, particular lesson-based. That is learning outcome. So there we have to be relying on the technology. You cannot run every time as a teacher. As a human being, you cannot set the paper and standardize the paper. But technology can help you, number one. Number two, learning outcome, you forget about the subject. I take more after the post-COVID about the psychosocial and emotional development of children there. You can find more aggression, more anger, and more inclination towards the some kind of obscene sites and some kind of foul languages also. These are very common in the school. I think those who are very, very associated with the school, they will come up, they will confirming this one, ki, yes, sir, this is happening. Somewhere it is sporadically, somewhere it is consistently happening. Now, how do you analyze? Because there is no standard tool in front of us. We can call a child, we can bang the child, we can call parent, we can suspend the child. So ultimately, we have to assess what is that emotional level of the child, what is the psychosocial status of the child. So that is also learning outcome, ki how much value system in the school we are teaching to the child. There is also a learning outcome. My third point is about the formative assessment. We have a different domains or different components of the formative assessment. We do conduct pen and paper test, we conduct multiple assessment, we conduct project, so many things. Now, there we set the rubrics. And I can give you with, by and large, whatever my experience goes, with 95% of assurance that rubrics changes from school to school. Now, when the content is same, teaching is by and large same, how the rubrics can change? So rubrics to be standardized, and that is only possible using the technology. So I am a firm advocate of the technology, yes, provided the technology is customized. That I agree with the other speaker also. And then individualistic learning and diagnostic approach. a child is not able to reach up to the expected level of the teacher, what that poor teacher will do? I teach a particular subject. I can run a remedial class, I can run extra class, this, that. But ultimately, I have to know where the child is lacking. And that we can do using or taking the help of technology. My last one will be the activities. So far, as Madam was on the first panel, that means they were advocating this one. Still, we are associated with the content, and content. Though we are telling that playing is important, music is important, art is important. But what happened, we are just allowing our children to participate in the activities. But activities have a role to play there. We are talking about the integrated teaching learning process, integrated so on and so forth. But are we assessing it? In our report card only we have the 3-point scale. A, B, C, and most of the students, they get A or B. Hardly anyone gives C. Now, that assessment also very, very important. I'm just giving one example. One of our ex-student, he passed out. So, he qualified in some of the IIM Lucknow there. All of a sudden, he asked me, sir, I need a transcription from your side. I said, what's the transcription? Well, no, whatever the factual information I have provided to my company, he was in some Harvard, he was approaching for some courses. They asked, at the school level, what are the activities you have participated and how you have done? We need the assessment from the school transcriptor or the school counselor. So he catch hold of me. Now you imagine that those soft skills are going to be very, very important in the coming days. If we want accomplished citizen, if we want to make them accomplished citizen and a better society. Another last one, I'll be touching on this about the EdTech, career choice. A child is dreaming, parent is aspiring कि भाई मेरे बच्चे ये होंगे वो होंगे, but are we able to assess them? From the beginning we are telling, and more so it happens when the sibling, by chance the elder one got chance in Guwahati Medical College, so younger one definitely should be waiting for that. It is by and large, I think all of you will agree. Or if that elder one got chance in IIT Mumbai, second one ki to usko jeena hi haram ho jata hai isme. By and large, I'm sorry for my language. So the matter comes here, ki whether we are giving that much freedom to the child to choose his or her career. One example, a child topped the school in 10th standard with 98% marks. The senior one, I mean elder one, got chance in, through NEET, got chance in medical college. The younger one definitely follows suit, parents are doctor. Within 3 months, that child said, I will be doing some course in psychology. Parents said, ki nahi, abhi ye kar lo, baad mein kar lena. Within 5 months, child topped the class 11 by and large up to the unit test. But within 5 months, the parents come down, they said, ki, yes sir, you are right, my child is fit for that. Child is now doing psychology. That also having a condition that I will only study psychology in graduation, no other subject. So thankfully the education system is also revamping and it is coming with a flexible curriculum setup. But there are certain universities in this in the world, they offer only one subject in the graduation there. So I conclude, time's up, it is written there. So I'll also conclude. Technology is important. Technology improvement is important. Technology assimilation is important. But for that reason, it is very, very important that we mentors, we accept it and we apply it properly. Thank you.
I wonder what's the penalty for exceeding the time. I hope it's not much, but I'll still skip round 2. And we had designed, we came together to design something called a rapid fire round, and I'll directly go through that. Why? Why do I really need to do that? I think that will sum up the content in a very fun and brief manner. So, sir, microphone. And if they are slow, then you can just tell, tell them, no, come on, we want to answer right now. Okay, 2 questions to each speaker, and it is a rapid fire round. Personalized learning is a philosophy, a program?
A program.
Personalized learning is not commitment to student and teacher agency, chaotic classrooms.
Chaotic classrooms.
Oh, thank you, sir. Wonderful. So that was very fast. To you, Papri ma'am. Personalized learning is not kids teaching themselves based on research and best instructional practices.
Kids teaching themselves.
Personalized learning is not clear definitions of mastery and flexible pathways, prescriptive pathways.
Prescriptive pathways.
Thank you. I hope you are getting the idea of having this, that, it's very quickly summarizes the content. Pulak sir, to you. Personalized learning is one size fits all, more small group instructions based on kids' needs. There's no marks for guessing.
So second one I'll go in for.
Okay. Personalized learning can be fostered only through technology, or is technology just an enabler?
Technology cannot be even fostered. It's a, what do you call that?
Enabler.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. To Maya ma'am. Personalized learning is not kids move at any pace or no pace, flexible pacing with guardrails.
Kids move at any place or no place.
Because it is not. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, these are questions that they are not aware of. These are spontaneous, so we wanted to keep the spontaneity and the fun alive, so we designed it in that way. Personalized learning is more rigorous expectations, kids choosing the easiest assignment available.
I think more rigorous.
Expectations?
And dynamic, yes.
Of course, of course. Mayur, okay? Okay, Sarkar sir. I have a friend called PC Sarkar, so I always, whenever I see Sarkar, I tend to say Pratap.
Jadoo.
Okay. Huh?
Jadoo.
Yeah, kind of. So personalized learning is not maker spaces, STEM labs as a requirement, flexible spaces that match learning experiences.
That matches learning experience.
Absolutely. Personalized learning is kids sitting on yoga balls, flexible seating.
Flexible.
And now to you, Mayur. Personalized learning will lessen social interactions and create individual silos, promote greater peer-to-peer learning.
Promote great peer-to-peer learning.
Personalized learning will promote higher ethical standards amongst learners or lower accountability.
Higher ethical standards.
Wonderful. So therefore, that kind of summarized what the topic is all about. And as I had already said, we do not want you to provide answers. Rather, we would like to leave you with questions. That is self-directed learning something new? Do we really need? Can we think of integrating technology without really making that journey from that lower pyramid of substitution to redirection? We have to move there. While integrating technology, while we are all concerned about mental health, we are wishing that our students become more independent learners. A food for thought. Do we think that integrating social emotional learning in a much bigger way in our curriculum, in our classrooms, will help create more effective personalized learning spaces? Because that is what emotional intelligence is all about, isn't it? Amongst the 5 things, we have self-regulation, self-awareness, motivation. No, I am not debating any, yeah. So therefore, probably if we can think of integrating to a certain extent, the social emotional aspects or fostering emotional intelligence, probably we can have answers where there will be, in spite of technology, we'll have a lot of interactions happening, we'll make more independent learners. On that note, thank you, and I hope we have not put you to sleep.
Absolutely not, ma'am. You were rapid and you were on fire. I would like to request Mansingh Pal, Management Trustee, Chopasni Educational Trust, to please come on the stage to give the memento to our wonderful panelists. Firstly, we have Mitra Saha, Principal, St. Vivekananda English Academy, Guwahati. A big round of applause for ma'am, please. Next, we have Dr. Pulak Bhattacharyya, Dean of Studies, ISG Group of Institutions and Schools, Guwahati. A big round of applause for sir, please. Next we have Krishnanjan Chanda, Principal, South Point School, Guwahati. Can we have a big round of applause for this rapid panelist we have over here? Next we have Maya Alfred Fernandes, Principal, the Downtown School, Guwahati. A big round of applause for ma'am, please. Next we have PS Sarkar, Principal, Delhi Public School, ONGC, Nazira. A round of applause, please. Thank you, sir. Next we have Mayur, Ghai, Channel Development, Avidii, India. Can we please have a group picture with the Memento and magazine, please?